Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fascinating. It's this idea about alignment, or maybe misalignment, between what we want our technology to do and, well, what it actually does. We're talking about a concept called trust debt. Think of it like a measurable gap. You can actually quantify the difference between the plan, the documentation, and the reality. It's being called, the new physics of AI safety. Pretty big claim. Our sources. We've got research papers, a whole marketing strategy, even detailed reports on a tool, IntentGuard, that apparently measures this. So our mission today, unpack this theory. How do you measure something like trust debt? And why should you, whether you're a developer or leading a company, why should you care?
It's a great framing because, honestly, this isn't just some far-off AI problem. It's really immediate. I mean, anyone who has ever worked on a software team, right, you've lived this. Documentation gets old, code changes, nobody updates the spec.
Oh, yeah. That frustration is very real.
Exactly. It's this daily grind. And the sources have this great metaphor for it. They say the industry has been flying blind with a compass.
A compass.
Right,
Okay.
like you have a general direction maybe.
Right.
But they argue we've created the first map. That's the shift. From guessing, basically, to having actual objective data.
Flying blind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely hits home. So, okay, let's make this concrete. This trust debt. What's a tangible example? You mentioned documentation and code getting out of sync. I think most people listening have probably hit that wall, right? Trying to figure out code when the description is just wrong. That's code doc drift, isn't it?
That's a perfect everyday example. And the core idea here is that this isn't just, annoying. It's an actual liability. It's measurable.
Measurable. So how? That's where this IntentGuard tool comes in.
Precisely. The research points to it as a way to quantify that drift.
And the sources mentioned something pretty compelling, this NPX IntentGuard audit command.
Yeah, that's the hook. The idea is you can run this one command, point it at your own code repository.
Your own project.
Your own project, yeah. And in 60 seconds, it gives you a full audit, a free audit, showing you how much trust debt might be hiding in there. It's designed for that immediate aha moment.
Okay, so you get this immediate feedback, but how does it actually calculate something like trust? I mean, that sounds complex.
It is complex, and that's where the core research findings come in. The IntentGuard work apparently uncovered these fundamental mathematical requirements, things you have to get right if you want to measure system alignment reliably. And these aren't just design choices they made. The claim is stronger. It's that any system that successfully measures trust objectively will have to end up with these properties. It's convergent.
Convergent.
Yeah.
Okay. What are these requirements then?
There are three main ones. First, orthogonal categories. Think of it like if you're diagnosing an illness, you need different tests, right? Blood pressure, temperature, specific labs. They measure different things independently.
So they don't mess with each other's results.
Exactly. The measurement dimensions need to be independent. The sources mention a correlation coefficient, rho, less than 0.1. That way you can isolate where the drift is happening.
Okay, orthogonality. What's number 2?
Second is unity architecture. This is really key. It means a direct, unambiguous mapping between the systems, meaning its intent and its physical form, the code, the implementation.
No translation layers.
Right. No fuzzy interpretations where errors can sneak in. It's like, imagine if your car's steering wheel was the connection to the wheels. No complex software in between that could glitch. The map is the territory, semantically speaking.
I see. Direct correspondence. And the third?
The third is multiplicative composition. This one's crucial for understanding systemic risk. It says overall system trust isn't just adding up the trust scores of individual parts.
It's not additive.
No, it's multiplicative. You multiply them. Think of a chain. Its strength is set by the weakest link, right?
Right. One bad link, the whole thing fails.
Exactly. If any single category of trust goes to 0, the total system trust becomes 0. Additive models, they miss that completely. They can make a system look okay overall even if one part is totally broken. This multiplicative thing captures emergent emergent system-wide failures.
Wow. Okay. Orthogonal, unity, multiplicative. That's quite a framework. And they claim this gives what? Massive performance improvements?
Yeah, the sources talk about 100x, even 1,000x improvements in some cases because you're eliminating hidden dependencies and inefficiencies. And crucially, it leads to objective, auditable AI alignment measurement.
It sounds rigorous, but the word trust still feels human, subjective. How does this mathematical stuff really bridge that gap? Does it work in practice?
Great question, and the sources tackle that head-on with a pretty bold move, actually. They share the results of running IntentGuard on its own codebase.
They audited themselves. What did they find?
They found a grade C and over 4,400 units of what they call true trust debt.
A C on their own project. Isn't that, well, a bit embarrassing?
You might think so initially, but they frame it totally differently. They say it's validation.
Validation.
How so? Because their system, designed to find semantic misalignment, actually found thousands of units of it in their own complex, fast-moving research code. It proves the measurement isn't just spitting out random numbers, it's detecting real gaps between intent and reality.
Ah, I see. So the C grade proves the detector works, even on themselves. It makes the objective measurement claim much more credible.
Precisely. It shows the framework can turn that subjective feeling of things are messy into a concrete, actionable number.
Okay, so the tech is fascinating, the math is deep, but let's bring it back to the listener. What does being able to quantify trust debt actually do for you if you're, say, a developer or a team lead? The sources suggest some pretty immediate benefits, right? Like ROI on your attention.
Exactly. First off, there's what they call intellectual validation. You get to test the core idea on your stuff. Is this code doc drift thing real for your project? Is it measurable? You find out.
So you see if the theory holds water for you personally.
Right. Then you get immediate actionable insights. The audit report isn't just a grade. It highlights the specific hotspots where things are diverging most. It gives you a prioritized list of things to fix. It's like getting a free mini consulting session focused on your project's health.
Okay, specific fixes, not just a number. That's useful.
Very. And third, it can help you unlock hidden potential. Remember the orthogonal categories. The report shows you where different parts of your system are unintentionally tangled up, correlated.
Ah, where you don't have that independence.
Exactly. And because trust is multiplicative, those correlations are robbing you of potential gains. Fixing them could unlock, potentially, those huge performance improvements we mentioned, stuff you'd never see otherwise.
Interesting. So better code, clearer priorities. What about the professional angle? The sources talk about an asymmetric advantage. What's that about?
Well, think about it. Being able to quantify something that used to be just a gut feeling, that lets you demonstrate technical excellence in a whole new way. It's objective proof you understand and manage a deeper layer of system quality. Almost like, yeah, a badge of honor.
Okay, so it looks good. Helps your reputation.
And it helps you eliminate technical debt blind spots. The reports don't just show hotspots where code and docs clash. They also show cold spots, areas where critical functionality has zero documentation. Huge knowledge gaps, big risks down the line. It helps you plug those holes.
Right. The things you didn't even know were problems.
Exactly. And maybe the biggest one. It positions you as an AI safety pioneer. By using and understanding these tools early on, you're not just fixing bugs, you're engaging with the foundational standards for trust in AI. That's well, the sources call it a resume-defining action in a trillion-dollar field.
A pioneer. That's a strong claim.
And it connects back to the patent we mentioned earlier. The sources emphasize this isn't just a patent, it's patenting the fundamental mathematical requirements for measuring AI trust.
Creating an unassailable moat, I think was the phrase.
Right, and the fascinating part is the historical context they provide in the filing. They apparently show how, for 50 years, database pioneers, giants like Cod and Stonebreaker, actually taught against this core idea of direct semantic to physical mapping, SFPH.
Really? They taught against it?
According to the filing, yes.
Yep.
Which strongly suggests the IntentGuard approach is non-obvious. It wasn't the standard way of thinking. And that non-obviousness, combined with proving it mathematically necessary, gives it that asymmetric leverage. It's trying to redefine the field.
Wow. So history was pointing the wrong way, in their view. That's quite a statement. Okay, so if this is so fundamental to potentially redefining, how does it spread? How does it go from one developer running an audit to, changing how entire industries operate?
Yeah, the sources lay out a really interesting go-to-market strategy. They call it an inevitable viral loop, built in 3 phases.
Okay, phase 1.
Phase 1, the grassroots invasion. This targets individual developers, open source maintainers. The hook is exactly what we talked about. The free NPX IntentGuard audit, the aha moment, the technical challenge, maybe even that grade C report showing honesty.
So appealing to the techies first.
Yeah.
Through developer forums, GitHub, places like that.
Exactly. Places like GitHub, Twitter X, Product Hunt. Focus on technical elegance, maybe even call it a computational morality engine to pique interest.
Computational morality engine.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Then what? Phase 2?
Phase 2, the thought leadership escalation. Now the target shifts. CTOs, VCs, technical leaders in enterprises.
Moving up the ladder.
Right. And the hook changes too. Now it's about the patent, the academic rigor, the defensibility. The conversation becomes about building a multi-billion-dollar business.
So less about code, more about strategy and risk.
Precisely. Using metaphors like the map of thought, the unity principle, framing it not just as a tool, but as a strategic imperative for competitive advantage and risk management.
Okay. Grassroots, then thought leaders. What's phase 3?
Phase 3. The regulatory and fiduciary forcing function. This targets the C-suite. CEOs, general counsel, chief risk officers.
The top floor. And the hook here.
Compliance, risk, money. Specifically, things like the EU AI Act, which mandates explainable, auditable AI, and the idea that trust debt, once measurable, becomes a quantifiable risk that executives have a fiduciary duty to manage.
So it becomes unavoidable from a legal and financial perspective.
That's the argument. The message shifts to, this isn't just a tech choice, it's a business necessity. Trust debt gets framed as a critical new metric, almost like tracking financial solvency.
That progression makes sense. It's like using the initial developer tool as a sort of Trojan horse.
Kind of, yeah. The relatable problem of code doc drift gets it in the door, people see it works, that creates buzz.
And then comes that fiduciary responsibility trap you mentioned. Once you can measure this risk, you can't claim you didn't know about it.
Exactly. Ignorance is no longer an excuse for leadership. It creates accountability.
Which ties right into the regulatory inevitability. Laws like the EU AI Act. They need tools like this, don't they? The deadline mentioned is August 2025.
Right. The argument is that regulations require this kind of objective measurement of safety and alignment. So the mark is being pulled towards solutions like this.
And the final piece, insurability. How does that fit?
Well, AI risk has been notoriously hard to insure because it's been unquantifiable. If you can put a reliable number on trust debt, suddenly AI risk becomes measurable, manageable, insurable.
So it potentially unlocks a massive AI insurance market, turning technical debt into something finance can understand and price.
That's the vision. It connects deep tech to core business functions like risk management and finance.
Okay, let's get back to that audit report for a second. You mentioned the grade, the units of debt. What else might someone see if they ran this on their own project? Give us a bit more flavor.
Sure. So our sources showed an example report. You'd see the headline numbers. Grade C, maybe 1,611 units of true trust debt identified.
Which was out of over 4,000 total units measured in that example.
Right. And you'd see the orthogonality score, 13.5% in the example, which is low, meaning lots of entanglement, and a self-consistency rating, which was poor in that case, all based on, say, 225 specific measurement points across the code base.
Okay, so a dashboard of key metrics. Does it explain the calculation?
It does. It references that underlying patent formula, trust debt, IFEB, intenti reality, X time I, X spec I, X category weighting.
Whoa, okay, break that down simply.
Basically, it squares the difference between intent, the docs, and reality, the code, for each point I. Then it weights that difference by how long they've been different, time, how old the spec is, spec age, and how important that category is, category weight. Sum it all up.
So bigger gaps, older specs, longer divergence, more debt. Makes sense. And this applies beyond code.
That's the claim. It's designed to scale from Git repos right up to complex AI systems.
Hmm.
Same core physics.
What else is in the report? You mentioned asymmetric triangle analysis. Sounds fancy.
Yeah, it basically compares how much effort went into building Git changes versus documenting doc changes. In the IntentGuard example, it was 3.51x asymmetric, meaning 3.5 times more building than documenting.
Which you said is maybe okay for research.
Right. For a fast-moving R&D project, that's expected. Lots of coding, docs lag behind. It gives you a profile of your development style.
And the dense matrix coverage, like a heat map.
Exactly. A grid, maybe 15 by 15, showing relationships between different parts of the system's intent and reality. Bright cells like orange or red show lots of activity, lots of building. Dark cells show orthogonality, the ideal state, where components are nicely separated.
And every project looks different.
Totally unique. It's like a semantic fingerprint of your code base's structure and its health.
So the report also flags specific problems, right? Not just numbers.
Oh, absolutely. That's the actionable part. Real-time drift detection. It might say, hey, your implementation module now depends on the core module, but your documentation doesn't mention this connection.
And then it tells you what to do.
Yes. It gives you concrete options. Like option 1, decouple implementation from core. Option 2, update the docs to reflect the dependency. Clear choices.
It even uses AI to find missing documentation, the cold spots.
Yeah, AI-powered cold spot analysis.
Yeah?
It might notice Looks like you implemented performance optimizations here, but there's no documentation about them.
And it suggests fixes.
Yep. It might recommend adding specific sections to your readme.md or creating a docsperformance.md, maybe even estimating how much effort that would take.
Wow. And the final piece, seeing how this debt changes over time.
Right, the trust debt evolution chart. It maps the drift across the history of your repository. This isn't just looking back. The idea is it helps you predict where things might break in the future,
Right.
catching failures before they happen.
That's incredibly detailed for a code repository.
It is. But remember, the sources stress this is just the start. This detailed code diagnostic. It's the foundation.
The foundation for applying it to AI systems.
Exactly. The enterprise vision is much bigger. Scaling this up to AI safety dashboards, automating regulatory compliance checks, integrating with insurance platforms, building full enterprise control centers for managing AI trust across the organization.
So that 15 by 15 matrix for code,
Right.
that's just a small preview.
It's a toy model, as the sources put it. Imagine that kind of visibility, but for your entire AI portfolio. Real-time alerts, predictive risk scoring, automated compliance reports.
It really brings it back to that idea of making morality measurable.
In a way, yes. Taking the philosophical worry, can we trust this AI, and turning it into an engineering discipline, an objective, quantifiable problem with, hopefully, an objective solution. That's the promise of quantifiable morality.
What a journey. We've gone from code doc drift all the way to potentially quantifiable morality for AI. It's definitely more than just another code scanner. It feels like this concept, trust debt, and tools like IntentGuard, they're aiming to establish a really fundamental standard, something that's been missing. So if you're listening and you're thinking about your own projects, your own systems, wondering how aligned they really are, well, the sources offer a pretty direct way to find out. That call to action again. Run NPX IntentGuard audit. Apparently, you can get a real sense of your project's readiness for this future in about a minute. A pretty powerful look under the hood.
It is. And it ties into what the sources call the inevitability argument. The core idea is simple. Drift happens. Always. Code drifts from docs. AI models drift from their training. Reality drifts from intent. It's universal. Trust debt was always there, they argue. Just invisible, unmeasurable. What tools like IntentGuard claim to have done is make it visible, make it computable, and maybe even prove that managing it is mathematically necessary for building safe, reliable systems, especially AI. So the question it leaves you with, really, is are you going to be part of defining this new standard for measuring trust? Or are you going to wait and adapt to the standards that others inevitably create?
That's a powerful note to end on. A challenge, really, to think about your role in shaping a trustworthy technological future. We definitely encourage you to explore this more, maybe even run that audit. See for yourself. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.